Welcome to episode 131. Are you ready for the adventure of a lifetime? No matter your destination, the travel specialists at 3D Travel Company are there to help. Just head on over to my website, www.whodidthatvoice.co, and click the Book Now button on the left-hand side to get your free quote today.
Welcome to Who Did That Voice, the show where we take an in-depth look at voiceover. And now, here's your host, Trenton Larkin.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the show. Today's special guest is joining me all the way from Gotham City. It's the rich heiress Gladys Windsmere from the Batman Unlimited films, Animal Instincts, and Monster Mayhem. Today's special guest is also the voice of Maggie Sawyer in the brand new, just released film, The Death of Superman, that came out July 24th, 2018. So guys, check it out. It's a great movie. You won't want to miss it. And I don't have any clips today. I'm sorry, but it's so new. They haven't really got a lot out there yet for The Death of Superman, and Gladys's character, I couldn't find anything. I hope you guys enjoy this amazing interview with our special guest today, and sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Ladies and gentlemen,
boys and girls,
welcome to Who Did That Voice?
In just a moment, the show will begin.
So please, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Who Did That Voice. Today on the show I have Amanda Troop joining me. Amanda, thank you so very much for giving me some of your valuable time to chat today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, and what a pleasure to spend my time with you.
Well, you were too kind, and I am super excited to get to chat with you. We've got some pretty cool stuff on the docket we're going to talk about today. Now, it sounds like a political podcast, which is totally not what this is, but you know, we're going to talk about some pretty cool stuff. And the very first thing we really want to talk about, though, is Amanda. So tell me about little Amanda Troop, the little girl that grew into the beautiful woman she is, and how did she become an actress?
So when I was a kid, I saw Bernadette Peters in a recorded version of Into the Woods. She was the witch in Into the Woods on Broadway. And I saw her and I thought, when I grow up, I'm going to be a witch. And then later I realized that she was an actor. And then cut to when I'm 11 years old, my mom decides that, you know, my parents had just retired from the Army. We'd lived all over the place. Now we're in Florida. And she says, let's go to the local theater and let's volunteer there. And Amanda, you're going to take musical theater classes. And at that time, I didn't want to be on stage. I thought, you know, maybe I'd be an astronaut or maybe I'd play piano professionally. But whatever it wasn't going to be acting. So we did a rock musical class, and we had a performance where we were going to do songs from all the famous rock musicals like Hair and Tommy and, you know, whatever, the other ones, Hair, Tommy, and the rest.
Yeah.
Right. And for the first number, we were doing Aquarius, and we had this funny thing planned where half the cast was going to be in the audience, and then on "This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius," we would all stand up and the audience would be like, wow, the actors were here the whole time. And I'm like mind-blowingly nervous. I'm sitting in my seat just shaking, and I'm trying to be cool. I'm like, no, I'm just in the audience like everybody else here. And the music starts and the lights go down and the actors start coming out on stage and my cue comes and I stand up. This is the dawning of, you know, and I'm just getting through it. And I walk up to the stage like we choreographed, and I turn around and, like, you know, there's that moment of the lights hitting your eyes and the audience is sort of in that like half darkness, half like glow from the stage, and something inside me just kind of snaps. And I go, oh, I love this. This is great. And so then I just had a great time. And then, you know, whenever anyone would ask me after that, I would say, well, I'm going to be an actor when I grow up. And so I did, you know, I acted all throughout high school. I did all the high school shows. I did all the community theater shows that I could do. I did the thespian competitions, and, you know, I went to the Carnegie Mellon summer program for theater, and, you know, so I just soaked it all in. And then ended up going to a liberal arts school for college, sort of in a weird twist of fate. And about 2 years into that, I met with an agent, and she said, here's what you have to do to actually be an actor when you grow up. And she kind of laid it out for me, and I went, oh, shit. And I called my parents, and I said, listen, I'm going to move to LA at the end of the semester. And they were like, okay. And then they surprised me by saying, well, we'll help you however we can and support you. And so end of the year, my mom drove up with the old Volvo, and I put all my earthly belongings into it, and she took me out to Burbank and left me there. And I worked really, really hard at it, and because I knew that they were counting on me, but I was also counting on me because it's what I really wanted. So now that I am happy to say that I'm an actor and have been so for, all my adult life, it's something I'm really grateful for, that my parents were like, you know what? She really wants it. Let's give it a shot.
Well, Amanda, thank you so much for diving into your past and kind of how you found your love of acting and where it's brought you to this day. Speaking of acting, you've gotten to be a part of a production that I believe released pretty recently. It's The Death of Superman, where you played Maggie Sawyer, and it is available, or did come out, and it was available, I believe, on July 24th. What was it like for you to get to be on such a massive DC project? I know you're no stranger to DC, but what was it like to work on this feature film, The Death of Superman?
Well, it was pretty exciting. When I came to the project, I didn't know, I had not heard of Maggie Sawyer before, so it was my first introduction to the character.
Awesome.
And I find out I've got the part, and of course I start doing my research, and I'm like, okay, she's a really interesting person. This is a really interesting character. She's one of the first openly gay characters in a major comic franchise, and that was a huge, huge deal for DC to do that.
Yeah.
She has a backstory with a love affair with Batwoman. That's super cool. But what really kind of drove it home to me of like, I'm playing a character that people really love, and this was very exciting. Was my friend Kelly Powers. He made me a little dossier, and he took an issue of Metropolis Special Crimes Unit, which is a comic book series.
Yeah.
And he put it in this like police envelope, and then he wrote on it all of the different characters in the universe that might have previously checked out this piece of evidence. So it says interdepartment delivery on it. And then he put on here Dan Turpin. He put on here Barry Allen. We got Commissioner Gordon on there. So things like that. I just was like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting that even in one of my friends, I have sparked like I'm excited. They're excited. Like this is a thing that's finally like, tapping into a deeper fandom and into like a history that's older than, you think about it, like this character is younger than the time that she's existed.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like
yeah,
Batman
absolutely.
is always 40 something, right?
Yeah.
38 to 45, let's say. But he's actually, 80 years old.
Yeah.
And so to play a character like that is like, oh, neat. Wow, I'm really in the universe. Like I got to create Gladys Windsmere. She was new, but Maggie Sawyer has history. So that was very exciting. And then, when I recorded it, I had no idea that it was going to be a star-studded cast.
Right.
I thought, so even for me, I was like, oh, Rebecca Romaine's in this. Oh, dang, that's cool. So I'm kind of along with all the other fans. I'm just sort of geeking out about it and like excited. And I got to go to the premiere at Comic-Con, and that was super cool. And to see it up there on the screen with a bunch of people that had never gotten to, like, no one in the audience would have ever gotten to see this before. It was the first time for everybody.
Yeah.
And that was a really, really special thing.
That is fantastic.
Yeah. yeah, I think you're gonna really, if you haven't seen it yet, I think you're gonna really like it.
I haven't. I'm super excited to watch it though. But aside from working on the death of Superman, I mentioned earlier you were no stranger to DC, and you've kind of briefly mentioned it a little bit with being on Batman Unlimited. You were on both Monster Mayhem and on Animal Instincts. I'm sorry. And you mentioned your character Gladys, correct?
Yes.
So Gladys
Windsmere, yes. Yeah, she's a upper crust society woman, knows the Waynes from way back. She's a little bit of a gossip monger. Doesn't like Chester Copperpot very much, but who would?
And you said that was the first time that character had ever been used, correct?
Yes.
That's awesome. That is pretty epic.
One of my favorite moments was when she gets her identity gets stolen in I think in Monster Mayhem. I don't remember which character turns into her briefly, but that was very funny to me to think like this old woman, and then like this person comes in and is running across the floor, and it's the villain for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she was fun to play too.
Absolutely. And of course, you worked with another great cast of people on both of those.
Yeah.
Some of the iconic characters that we've had on other Batman franchises or DC projects that were part of those films that you were a part of. So epic opportunities for you to really get to meet some of the cool people that are behind DC and behind some of these superhero franchises that have just been super epic. And so it's really cool because it seems like once people kind of get in with that crowd, they kind of repeat through, and eventually one day, you could be the next Wonder Woman, that kind of thing, where it's like they kind of start out in one area and they always grow.
That'd be amazing. Yeah.
So you never know.
I'm hoping I've got to audition for Harley Quinn a few times.
Oh, sweet.
And I'm hoping one of these days it'll stick.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
I would love to be Harley.
Give us a little Harley. Let's hear Amanda Troop's Harley.
Oh, you want? Oh, Mr. J. Oh, that Batman. He's such a naughty guy. Well, I'm going to hit him with my club.
That's reminiscent of the Batman the Animated Series era, kind of. I like it.
Oh, it's my direct inspiration.
That's like my favorite Batman series of all time. So then when I heard that, I was like, dude, I can totally hear the tonage there. Absolutely love your version of Harley. So maybe we'll get to see you as a Harley Quinn someday. That would be super epic.
It would be a pleasure to play her. She's crazy.
That's
Who
awesome.
is that?
That's awesome. Well, Amanda,
Get off the line, Harley. Get off the line.
Well, Amanda, thank you so much for giving us a little bit of your version of Harley. That's pretty awesome. Maybe it'll get you the next role as Harley on the next film they're going to work on. But anyway.
You heard it here. It's going to happen.
You heard it here first. So on Who Did That Voice? So Amanda, you've also, besides working on animated projects, you've worked on a number of different things, such as the show Wilfred, which aired on FX with Elijah Wood and Jason Gann. And you played a character named Stacey on that comedy film or comedy TV show. And what was it like for you to get to work on that project? It's a rather hilarious show.
Oh, yes. It's a dark, twisted, hilarious show. Working on that was a lot of fun. I'd been working with the director, Randall Einhorn, on a campaign for Chevrolet that ran for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And so I'd already been working with him, and I said to him one day, I was like, hey, listen, if there's anything, no pressure, but if there's anything that might be right for me, I'd love to come in and read for it. Unfortunately, there was, so I had the opportunity to go in and audition, and so I wound up playing this character, Stacey, and she worked in, there was one season where Elijah Wood's character worked in an office, and I worked in that office as the assistant to the boss there, who was played by, hold on, I don't know if I'm going to remember. He was on, oh, well, it doesn't matter. I'll you know what, I'll send you a link to that too. But I played the assistant to the boss, and there was like a whole phase in my career where I was playing receptionists and assistants, and so this was during that time period. And so I got to meet everybody, of course, and work with everybody. Elijah's very, very nice. you're struck by, of course, his blue, like crystalline blue, amazing eyes.
Yeah.
When you see him, like, you're just like, oh my. And then he's just very, very nice. Like, just nice chit chat, and it was a relaxed set. Everybody was really cool. Yeah, that was a lot of fun to be on that show.
That's
and
awesome.
Then it was really a weird show. and I love being on weird shows. I think the weirder the better. I'm very into unusual comedy, sort of avant-garde, offbeat.
Yeah. Like The Last Man on Earth, those kind of things.
I'm drawn to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I worked on Children's Hospital too, which was, again, it was like sort of just a really weird kind of comedy, but there's something, maybe that's about me. I don't know, but I'm okay with it.
That's awesome.
I love that weird comedy.
Well, I think the thing about weird comedy, Amanda, is it's stuff that's going to stick out. And depending on how the project is done, it could really make an impact on society that leaves a mark, more so than a show that's just everyday, kind of typical what we're used to, because those are the ones that are going to poke at things that haven't been dealt with, or, crack a joke that hasn't been done in a long time or forever or ever. And so I think, being on those kind of shows has an opportunity for an actor to really spread their wings and get to be things that are out of the typical box,
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. That was so well put. Yeah, yes. What you said. Yes, absolutely. I agree with that.
That's awesome.
By the way, I remembered Steven Weber.
Steven Weber. Okay.
Was the guy who played he's who played my boss on Wilfred.
That's awesome. That is fantastic. Well, I know getting to work on that show had to be a blast. It looked like a blast, and getting to hear the behind the scenes stories always makes these kind of things more fun the next time you go and watch them. So that's awesome. Well, the next thing, you're welcome. The next thing we're going to talk about is the Bobcat Goldthwait's. I'm totally mispronouncing that. Bobcat Goldthwait's Misfits and Monsters.
Goldthwait.
Yes. Sorry. And you're going to be on that show coming up here on True TV. And can you tell us a little bit about what you're going to do on the show? Or?
Well, I don't spoil anything. So I'll tell you a little bit about the show.
Okay.
And then I might give like a small teaser.
Okay.
Maybe.
Whatever you can do that's not breaking your NDA.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to ruin anything for anybody. Even
spoilers.
Just as a fan.
Yeah.
Like I really don't like spoilers on anything. Even when I know, like, I read all of the Song of Ice and Fire. I read all the Game of Thrones books, and yet I still didn't want people to tell me what happened in the episodes, because it was still a spoiler. So I knew it was going to happen. Yeah. But I also didn't want people to tell me what was going to happen, because I didn't know how it was going to happen in that instance. Like when you see the death of Superman, you know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But you don't want anybody to tell you how it happened. So
yeah.
I'm not going to do that to you right now. So Misfits and Monsters is an anthology series. Every episode is totally different. Every episode features fantastic comedians. They're all of Bobcat's friends from his career in comedy. So every time you tune in, you're going to get some kind of a treat, because everybody is funny, everybody is talented. All the parts are filled with like these hilarious people.
Yeah.
It's like kind of a who's who of modern comedy, and that in itself is a reason to tune in. And then on top of it, it's a really interesting, different kind of show. Like we were saying, it's an unusual comedy. The first episode deals with it's like a combo between Cape Fear and Who Framed Roger Rabbit. About it stars Seth Green, and he's voiced this character that's now come to life and is tormenting him. And then the next episode is about a werewolf who runs for president, and it's a little political commentary.
Yeah.
And each one is very funny and very dark, and not necessarily happy ending geared. Things might not always turn out so well. And my episode was originally called Sleepover, but now it's called Goatman Cometh. And it's generally about... Huh?
I said a wee bit different. Sleepover to Goatman Cometh.
Yeah, well, so it's generally about a slumber party that goes awry.
Okay.
And I play the mother of one of the children that is attending this slumber party.
Okay.
And Melissa Joan Hart is the lead in the episode. So we get a little, ex Sabrina the Teenage Witch for fans of that show when it was on, or
Loved it.
Clarissa. Yeah, exactly. But she's really cool. She was so fun to hang out with on set.
Oh, that's awesome.
And again, very funny, very twisted. But I think that's about all. I want to say about that right now.
Awesome. I can't wait to see it. It looks like a great show from the preview that I watched last night. I've seen it once before, but I rewatched it just to kind of refresh myself. But it looks like it's going to be fantastic, and I cannot wait to watch it. So that's going to be pretty epic.
Yes. Oh, well, there's a new episode tonight, and then my episode is next Wednesday.
Sweet.
Which is, I don't know, August something.
August something. Awesome.
It's next Wednesday.
Okay. Awesome. Well, are there any other shows that you're working on that we haven't talked about yet that you want to share, or any upcoming projects that you want to discuss with us today, Amanda? One of the joys and one of the frustrations of being a voice actor is that you get to know about things long before anyone else gets to know about them, but you also have to sign a non-disclosure agreement and not talk to anybody about them. So yeah. I've got a couple of things, a couple of video games that are going to probably come out next year. Okay.
There's a feature film that I did some work on that's going to be coming out next year, but I can't tell you what they are. But I will tweet about them when I can talk about it.
Absolutely.
And then later this summer, we should be expecting the next 4 episodes of a web animated series that I'm doing called Vox Peak through a company called EasyAllies.com. And it's a papercraft animated show created by Kyle Bosman, and it's very funny and very weird, and it lampoons like Pokemon, Digimon, all of these like modern game-focused animated shows. And the first episode is up right now if you want to watch it. But it's all hand-drawn and hand-animated.
Oh,
and it's really cool. Yeah, it's really cool. And I play Jordy, and he just loves playing Box Peak. Wow.
That's awesome.
And I also play a few other characters on the show. I play that haven't been introduced yet. But I think I play all the women on the show and Jordy.
Oh, that's cool. That is really cool.
So yeah. So there should be more of that coming out very, very soon. So stay tuned for that.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for sharing that with us. I love hand-drawn animation. It's just something that we don't get a lot of anymore. So anytime a project comes out like that, those just grab me so tight compared to other things that come out nowadays most of the time. So that's really awesome. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cute. Yeah.
That's super awesome. And your voice, Jordy, that was super cute. I absolutely love that.
Thanks. Yeah, it's just one of those little kids that lives inside me. Do you have any of those? Do you have children that live inside your brain?
I used to when I was younger. I don't as much now, but yeah, I know what you mean.
Oh, what happened?
I left Neverland.
Where'd they go? Oh, Neverland. Well, that's nice. That's nice.
But anyway, you were kind of talking about tweeting out your social media stuff when the new projects, the video games and feature films and stuff start coming out. What is your social media, and how can people follow you, reach out to you, and inquire about voiceover, or thank you for the impact you've had on their lives through the shows you've worked on?
Oh, it's very easy to find me. I'm on Twitter and on Instagram at Amanda_Troop. And you'll know it's me when you find me. I think there's one other Amanda Troop, and I think she's a music journalist in Chicago. So not her. You can follow her, but the other one is the one you want. The one that has my banner on Twitter is I was on this web series called the Banff Girls Club, and I played Hermione Granger, and someone decided to make a comic series based on the show, and so there's a cell of that comic series as my header of she's Hermione in a bathtub, and she's singing "I Am Magical and I'm Okay." This is my tribute to I'm a lumberjack and I'm okay. Because fortunately, I don't know if you can tell this, fortunately people let me improvise when I do my job.
Yeah.
And so sometimes things like that make their way into projects I work on.
Well, improvisation definitely makes it more fun, because then, the unexpected can happen,
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Well, Amanda, I've got 2 final questions for you, and we will wrap this interview up. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. The first of the 2 is, what kind of advice would you give to an aspiring young actor or actress who's looking at joining the world of acting, but more specifically wanting to try to gear themselves potentially towards voiceover itself?
My first piece of advice is that voice acting is acting. So find an acting class and dive in. Try it out. See if you like it. Because maybe you have some innate abilities. Maybe you have an interesting sounding voice, or you can do impressions, or you have a very high-pitched voice or a very low voice. All of that is great, and that's an asset, but it's not enough to have a career. What you need to have a career are the chops, the acting chops.
Absolutely.
So that would be the advice 1. And then advice 2 is start practicing every day. Read aloud. When I was first deciding to get into voice acting, I started volunteering at the Braille Institute, and I would record different things that people needed to have read, like instruction manuals, magazine articles. So I would go and I would volunteer for 2 hours a week reading these things aloud and trying to make them understandable and enjoyable. I mean, reading a VCR manual is not interesting, but I would do my best,
Yeah.
Like on the back of the VCR, you'll find 2 plugs. One is round and the other is oblong, so and this kind of stuff will really help you, because you're going to be reading off the page, not memorized, for a lot of your voiceover work. And you need to be able to read off the page smoothly and fast. And you need to work on what it's like to convey everything that you need to say through your voice and not using your face to help. So learning how to use your voice, your body, all of that. So reading aloud every day is going to be a big help. And just keep at it, because it's a long road. But if you keep practicing and keep working towards it, there's a place for you in this business.
Absolutely. I love that. And I love that you donated your time to help those who are blind. That's really awesome that you were doing that. And I understand reading a how to put your VCR together manual or whatever isn't necessarily entertaining, but there are certain things you can do to try to make it as, I guess, exciting or entertaining as possible when you're just reading a manual. But the fact that you were donating your time to help the people who are blind is really awesome. I really admire you for doing that and for giving of your time to help others out.
Thank you. Yeah, and there should be opportunities similar to that wherever you live. There's always some. My dad has started reading. He does like a local radio station in Florida, and he reads newspapers for the blind on the radio station. So look into things like that, because that's a really great way for you to practice and also to help other people.
Fantastic idea. Thank you so much for the advice, on top of the advice to everyone out there listening. It's awesome, Amanda. I have one final question for you, and we will wrap this interview up. Are you ready?
I'm so ready.
Here comes the pop quiz, okay?
Oh no, the pop quiz. Okay.
Bet you haven't heard those words in a long time.
My heart is beating faster though. Because here's the thing. I want to get it right.
Right? Absolutely. Well, the thing about this question is you can't get it wrong. The question is, what is the legacy that you want to leave behind?
Oh my gosh. This is a very good question. I hope that through acting, and this is acting on camera, acting voiceover, all of this, that I can help people find a greater sense of empathy toward other people. I think one of the best things actors can do is say, this is not your life. I'm going to show you a story of someone else's life, and I'm going to put you in their shoes for a brief amount of time. And you're going to go through the emotions of what it might be like to have had that experience. And when you're done going on this journey with me, you're going to walk out and you're going to look at other people and you're going to be a little bit changed. And so I truly hope that I help people be kinder to each other and learn to be more empathetic. And I want to do that through humor, and I want to do that through kindness. And so if I can do that, I'll be very happy.
I think that's an absolutely wonderful legacy. And Amanda, I can't thank you enough for your time. It's been absolutely fun getting to chat with you today about all these amazing different projects you have worked on and that are coming out soon, and even the ones that we were unable to mention just because of NDAs. But thank you so much for all of your time and stories and advice.
Oh, thank you so much. This is such a pleasure. Thank you for having me on.
Well, Amanda, it has been an absolute honor and pleasure having you on the show today. Would you please do me the honor of closing out our show as we wrap up?
Oh, thank you so much. It's been a lot of fun. And from Jordy on Box Speak, I hope you enjoyed listening to this episode. It's been really fun being on this show, almost as fun as Box Speak. Goodbye, podcast listeners. You've been listening to Who Did That Voice podcast.
Hey, this is Amanda Troop, and you've been listening to Who Did That Voice podcast.
Well, everyone, I sure hope you enjoyed today's episode with Amanda Troop, the voice of Gladys Windsmere, and Maggie Sawyer, and so much more. And if you did, please find me on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram by searching Who Did That Voice. And don't forget to like, comment, and share. For those of you watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the little bell notification on the right-hand side so you don't miss out on a single episode. I've been your host, Trenton Larkin, and I'll see you next time. You know, a question you might ask yourself is, where can I listen to Who Did That Voice? That's an excellent question. You can hear us on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, TuneIn Radio, YouTube, and our website at www.whodidthatvoice.co. Click the Episodes tab and listen away. Well, everyone, that's all the time we have for this episode. Join us next time for our special guest, Derek Stephen Prince, the voice of Elgar from Power Rangers Turbo. You won't want to miss this episode. Hey, do you ask yourself who did that voice? Well, if you do, go to our website, www.whodidthatvoice.co, and click on the Episodes tab. Choose an actor, pick their name, and see pictures from the different characters they've voiced in their career.
Thank you for joining us today. We'll see you next time for more discoveries on Who Did That Voice.